From UFOs to ghost and psychic powers, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now and learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. According to the Government Accountability Office, the total federal debt was roughly $13.6 trillion in 2010. As of August 2011, this debt exceeded $14 trillion. Since the U.S. population is a little over 300 million people, each citizen's share of the debt is about $47,000. However, there's a limit to the amount of debt the U.S. can accrue. This limit is known as the debt ceiling. By May of 2011, the U.S. Treasury announced the debt limit had been reached, $14.29 trillion, and that the government had until August 2nd to raise the debt ceiling. The President and Congress eventually agreed to raise the debt ceiling by up to $2.4 trillion in exchange for at least $2.4 trillion cuts in spending over the next decade. The private credit rating agency Standard & Poor's downgraded the U.S.'s credit rating from AAA to AA+, but in the end the U.S. avoided a default. However, some conspiracy theorists don't see this as a last-minute effort to save the nation. In fact, they believe it may be part of a bigger, older plan. Here's where it gets crazy. The conspiracy theories about U.S. debt problems have a lot in common with theories about the New World Order or a global banking elite. For example, while some journalists accuse the White House or Congress of exploiting the debt crisis for political leverage, theorists see something deeper in this conflict. These theories also take the recent actions of Standard & Poor's into consideration. Researchers such as Dante Navarre believe financial interests in Wall Street control the privately owned credit rating agencies and have used the threat of downgraded credit as extortion, hoping to force the government to pass certain laws. But what are these laws, and what exactly is their purpose? Here, conspiracy theorists have divided opinions. Some claim the crisis has been manufactured to give the federal government more control over the U.S. population. However, other theorists believe the ultimate goal is a one-world government, and that the crisis is meant to erode the sovereignty of the United States. Although these theories make frightening claims, the most recent debt ceiling raise is not unique. Since 1962, the debt ceiling has been raised 74 times. Under the previous U.S. president, George W. Bush, the debt ceiling was raised 7 times. The disagreement over the national debt involves numerous factions, but the mainstream agrees on one thing: the debt must be fixed. If a global financial elite really did attempt to drive the U.S. to the brink of financial ruin, they'd need several extraordinary things, including control over the top levels of numerous government agencies, regulatory bodies, and private organizations. Additionally, they'd need control over mass media, or at least enough influence to spin public opinion. Skeptics point out that this level of control would be historically unprecedented. They argue that the conflicting short-term goals of the players involved could easily create this financial catastrophe, and that an organized conspiracy, in addition to being nearly impossible, would not be necessary. Yet, for conspiracy theorists, aspects of the recent deal remain disturbing. Why is so much money missing from the coffers of the Defense Department? Why did Standard & Poor's downgrade the U.S. rating but give high ratings to companies performing subprime mortgages? There's no denying that the current fiscal crisis includes some things the American public doesn't want to deal with. But could it also involve something the banks don't want you to know?